Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video with me, Shruti. You're watching Living Our Ascension. So in today's video, I want to speak a little bit about the spaces that are created on Earth, these energies, and what sacred portals are, what they mean, and what we are doing with them at the moment. What is the highest that is being manifested on the Earth plane at this time. So sacred portals, as some of you might have heard of this, where people speak about these portals, these energetic portals on the planet, or sacred spaces, vortices, like a vortex. And basically what they mean is that, whenever there's a concentrated energy in one place, and usually it refers to a higher energy, so it becomes a place on the planet where there's this concentrated higher energy. And what this does is that why this opens up, why does creation allow it, why it happens, is because one of the reasons is that the Earth is going through her transformation process at the moment. There's a great cleansing that's happening, and the vibration is being elevated to a higher frequency more and more with each passing day. And there have been portals that have existed on the planet, in many different areas that are known, that carry a certain energy. For example, many people speak of the Himalayas having a certain energy, and all of the yogis, they used to go there, and it carries this certain vibration. But of course it's not the only one. We know of some of the famous ones, but there's smaller vortices as well, and the truth is that we keep opening up more and more. It's not just about those famous 4 or 5 that you've heard in your life. As volunteer souls, and the new souls who are going through their process of ascension, they, as we become the portals. So these portals, what they do, whether it's a human being or whether it's a space, it becomes this higher vibrational energy that's not really there in the masses, that's not there widespread on the planet yet. And when a being, either through their body or a space, allows for that to happen, to open up, it becomes like a concentrated space of one energy, which is a higher energy. And therefore it creates a space of protection for that energy to exist in its purity that would perhaps be more dissipated, were it like allowed to just if it were evenly distributed all over, because there's all kinds of discordant energies, as we know, on the planet at the moment. But a certain vortex, these vortices, they allow one energy to be present in its purity, in a potent form. And that's what I want to speak about, that this is what we are being called to at this time. Those people who are on the path of ascension, who have activated a certain level of vibration within their own body, you are becoming a portal. So, and the thing is that we often associate these portals with these beautiful nature places, because traditionally that's been the case. You go to a mountain and or a beautiful, any place of nature really, and certain places where certain rituals have been carried out, or it just is a portal. That's how, like, it aligns with one of the let's say like a sacred spot on the Earth. Just like we have these meridians, we have a spine, like energy flows through our body in a certain way, through certain channels. Of course it's all over, but there's certain channels that are more potent, like it runs along the spine, and then it maybe goes out into the other areas. So the Earth kind of is similar in that sense. But it's not as if there's only some, like I've been saying. It's important to know that the ones that are opening up are equally significant, like the ones that we are being called to open up these spaces, whether we are doing it consciously or unconsciously. Because what happens is that sometimes those other portals from before, they carried a certain ancient energy, but these new ones, because we are carrying, volunteer souls, we're carrying new energy, energy that is not just of the Earth and ancient and full of wisdom, but also expansive energy, galactic energy. And it's a new paradigm energy, and really when both of them combine is when you get this beautiful energy of magic that the human holds, that the new human, enlightened human holds. If you are working with the energies of Ascension, you've activated a certain level in your body, then perhaps you are also, and you're listening to this video and you resonate with this, then perhaps you are also called to open up a certain portal. So as you can see, I've just changed the location. A friend of mine, called me up and said that they were coming to this site. This is actually a bit south of San Francisco. It's a place called Pacifica. It's Linda Mar, and this is the exact place that I was speaking about, that I was going to mention, about being one of those places that activated me. But anyway, I'll get into that. So as I was saying, there's all kinds of beings within creation, and I made other videos on this. So this video is not focused on that, but there's all kinds of beings within creation, and it's not just humans. And we have so many different dimensions within creation. And all of us, when we were born first, you might be in a human body now, but when we were first born from the source of all that is, we were born as a certain kind of a being, and we carry that main energy through all of our incarnations, whatever being we incarnate as. But that core frequency is our frequency, our soul frequency. And we have these different beings that work with us, even though now we're in a human form. And there'll be light beings that are working with us as our light family or our team, you can say. And these beings, we have so much help that's available to us. And through these, but also we assist the higher realms as well, so it's not just one way. And this is the higher potential that opens up, most especially once we have landed the I am presence and we become fully, authentic. So we are this powerful being within our human vessel. Then it becomes all about service. It's not even just about your own healing anymore, because you have fully healed yourself. You've become fully realized at that point. And then it's just about being this generous, portal that through which you just allow light to flow through the way that it wants, the way that the divine plan has ordained, and it just kind of flows through you, the light, and it gives, to everyone, whoever needs it, because that's how light is. It goes to the highest, whatever's for the highest good is where it flows. And so a person who is in service to divine will is also like that. They're not really choosing as such where they are, where they need to be. Like, for example, I was filming this video just very close to my house, and now I'm here because this is the place perhaps where that energy needs to be activated, and I'm speaking about it. And later on I'm going to do like a meditation here, like a ritual, which perhaps that needed to happen here, which is why I found myself here suddenly. I didn't plan it that way. But there's all kinds of beings, like I'm saying, within creation, and once we know what kind of a being we are, we can work with this in a conscious way. And our light family will be working with us to land their presence here in a more in a stronger way than they have before. So one of the messages I'm getting from my guides is that the kingdoms are coming back. So the various different kinds of kingdoms, the earth enjoyed like a golden age long ago, and back then it was like a more galactic place where all of these beings from different civilizations, galactic civilizations, could be present here. Because obviously it's not just one life form. If you just look within earth, there's so many different kinds of life forms. And so within creation, there's, imagine how many more. And back when we were more open to this idea, and it hadn't become all the way that it is now, when we were more open, we had the golden age, we enjoyed the golden age on earth, and it was of a higher vibration as well. And so all of these different galactic beings were interacting with each other on the earth as a melting pot. And that potential is returning, because now we're moving into the golden age of the new golden age of the new earth, and that's what we are bringing here. So the people who are holding a certain level of awareness now in their bodies, they become the portals for this. Like, you are used by creation to anchor that potential, and you'll be doing it through your own soul frequency as well, primarily. Of course, we can assist, we can work with all different kinds of beings within creation and bring whatever needs to be brought here, but primarily it'll be our own soul's vibration. So whatever your light family is, you know, you'll be working with them to anchor that. And the different kingdoms are coming back, you know, whether that's like the fairy kingdom, the elven kingdom, you know, there's just so many different kinds of beings. It's like I can't even make a list of it, and you know, I'm sure so many more that I don't even know about. So the different star civilizations that exist as well. So all of these different kinds have heritage, you know, they have their own heritage that was present on the earth before as well. Because even the earth, like if you're a human soul, for example, and you say that, you know, because human souls they incarnated on this planet, that was their birth. Like when they were born as a human soul, they came here, this was their earth, this was their home, because it's a young civilization. And but even then, like I've been mentioning, you know, even the human DNA evolved, just like the different races, you know, when we meet each other, we intermingle, and different languages, they evolve into something else. It's the same way when different races, galactic races, were present here. Things changed, you know, it influenced the culture, it influenced the DNA. So all humans are, you know, have galactic DNA as well. And so all of us then, you know, have a unique thing that we bring, a unique heritage that we bring. So it's not just your family, the blood family that you were born into, that you have, you know, it's much deeper than that as well. So we are working at that level, at that cellular level, at a galactic level, serving as these galactic, you know, activators, and we are activating these new portals on Earth. And so, you know, last night, I was actually here, and it was just so beautiful. I was here at night, and the stars were just like, it was so bright, because, you know, this is not the city, where we were far from San Francisco, and it was just the stars, and it was really pretty. And I felt this overwhelming energy, you know, that magic that you feel, like there's a sense of purpose that comes with it, and you suddenly feel this nature magic within you, and I felt that feeling. And then as I awoke this morning, I was just writing for this video, and all of these things came through suddenly, because this needed to, and now suddenly I find myself here again. So you see this, I know that there's some purpose for me to be here in this place that, you know, that's a little south of San Francisco, and that something is opening up, that I'm working with this vortex. So this is how creation will be bringing to you clues of what you need to work with, and often we don't even know, we're doing it unconsciously, you know, we just find ourselves somewhere, life takes us somewhere, and we're working with that. But when we become more conscious of it, which is why I make these videos, is to, you know, to speak about what's being anchored at a higher level, because it's the same for all of us at one level. Of course we work uniquely with the light, but there's also a common thing that happens, you know, that's activating. So that's the job of an Ascension guide, is to speak about that, and then when you know what's being anchored, you can use it in a more conscious way. So this is the second point that I was speaking about, that the return of the kingdoms are coming back, and at the etheric levels this potential is expanding, and through your multi-dimensional form, this body that we are forming, this rainbow body, this multi-dimensional aspects of ourselves that we're opening up, you know, the more that we are in tune with it, the more gifts that we can bring through, the more we can represent the different beings within creation who want to work on the earth plane, you know, because they are also here to assist. It's not only beings who are here in human form that assist, but beings in the other realms can assist as well, but they can't just, like, you know, walk around like us. So they need these light workers that are activated to a certain level. And so, for example, you know, let's use my example, like I'm activated to a certain level, and I have a certain level of consciousness, I receive messages, and this field that we hold as well, you know, it expands the more we are landed in our ascension. So our electromagnetic field, just, you know, that comes from the higher heart, this field that we have can be immense. In the beginning perhaps it's small, you know, but then when we really become activated, it's immense, and anybody who comes into that field is activated at a certain level. So people who are crossing it, you know, it's for a reason. Like, we exchange for a reason, just like the relationships that come into your life come for a reason. It's the same with anybody who crosses your field. And usually, you know, because those who are activated hold a higher level of vibration, so they are doing more of the work, it's more of service. So even though it's an exchange, but it's more about, you know, there's more service and giving going on from one side, because it's a higher frequency, and you know that's how it is. Like when a frequency is higher in relation to another one here, then you know this is the lower one will tend to take on the will tend to get integrated within the higher. So when you have more than one human, you know, present in a certain space and feeling a sense of purpose, like last night I was here, and like I was explaining, the stars were just magical, and I felt this feeling, this larger than life feeling moving through me. And you know, the other person was also feeling it because it was just so potent and, you know, felt. But you know, where someone else might just ignore that or be involved with like these other thoughts, someone who has activated a certain vibration will be feeling it, will be alive and present to it. And the moment then that we allow the heart to just open up in joy and just accept that light, accept that moment, you know, just be fully present with it. That's how light anchors through us and goes into the ground, you know, it becomes physical, it becomes present on the planet. This is how we open up certain channels and portals. And then this energy becomes more available in the, you know, just on the planet for anybody who invokes it, for anyone going through those moments on their own when they're, you know, going through challenges and going through moments of awakening, and they ask for help, like within themselves, they want the reason, they want the light, and then that light becomes available because of these channels that have been formed, you know, by others, you know, before them. So it's really important, you know, this purpose. And right now the highest way that we can work with, one of the highest ways is to open up these portals. And so please keep watching this either at the end of this video, or I'll make a separate video, but I'm going to do a meditation, you know, to open up a sacred portal. So if you're resonating with this, please do join me in doing that. You know, the more people who join with this, the more potential that opens up. But it's also in the cities, because you know that's where it's most densely populated, that's where the negative thought forms, you know, exist at their worst, basically, you know, at their most discordant, and that's where it's most needed. So many of us will also find ourselves in cities and, you know, such places, and working with that. But it can be, this energy can be created anywhere, especially if you hold a certain level of vibration within yourself. You will have like a protective field, you know, it's like a your own space, your own kingdom that you hold, this vibration, this space that you create. Just like those tall mountains, you know, I went to Switzerland a couple of years ago, and they were speaking about how certain mountains that have like a certain elevation, they create their own weather and atmosphere around them because they're so tall, and they're taller than other mountains, and you know, certain conditions, and they have their own weather. So you know, you can go and check the forecast before you go hiking, but it doesn't make that much of a difference for some places. So we become like these pillars, like these mountains, you know, anchoring light and creating our own atmosphere. It doesn't matter what's happening. Of course, there'll be a general atmosphere, but you can exist anywhere, and you always have your own vibration. And in fact, it invites others in, you know, magnetizes others in to that, the ones who need it and the ones who are meant to. And even though the vibration might be quite dense, you know, within, let's say, a place like a really populated city, but if you are present in one place for very long, like for example the home that you live in, I often found that the place that I lived in, it was near, you know, in recent years, that too, like not before that, but in recent years, since I became activated, the places that I found myself living in, even if I was not actively choosing them as such, you know, they were around like a mountain or some kind of a nature body. Like now I live by the ocean, and that's because this light work can be done, and you know, it can, again, like there's more prana available for it to happen as well. And the place where you live, you are forming that portal again, you know, because you're present there always, like your main energy, your main presence is always there. So even if you're not doing anything physically, it's still with those thoughts and that love frequency that you hold constantly, that's what you're doing. So recognize that this is also something that, you know, we are doing, and we can consciously work with. Like when you become conscious of it, it's not about just feeling proud and happy, but it's like, you know, you might have your own ideas. Every person is unique, everyone's mission is unique, and you will have your own ideas about what to do with it, you know, perhaps in sacred ceremony, or just becoming aware of it might change your perception. I lived in these apartments in Croatia last year, and there were lots of babies that were being born there. You know, for some reason people from different countries used to come to Croatia, nearby countries, because I think like the the hospitals were cheaper, or they were had better facilities or something, but it was common for people from the surrounding countries to come and give birth, you know, in Croatia. And lots of babies were born in that building where I was living. You know, I could hear, like, I would hear about it from our landlord, and I would hear them crying, and it's because, again, I hold a certain frequency. You know, I'm doing this work of the new earth always, and I'm holding that frequency. And so these kids that are coming in that have this new energy, you know, they need these bodies that are more refined, that are purer, you know, their parents' bodies, but also this energy. So all of it helps, you know, the bodies that they're coming through, the body of their parents, if that is refined, and then the energy that's created. So all of it comes together, you know, and becomes the birthing of this new earth in many different ways. So we all contribute like this. And you know, some of these examples that I'm just giving you, they're just to make you aware of the unique ways in which you would be contributing, and that's the main purpose of this video, and you know, most of the videos that I make. Within creation, each being has a different purpose. So for example, you know, the fairies have a certain purpose of looking after certain kinds of flowers, making sure that they grow and flourish, you know, that they are able to. So for example, you know, most people understand that flowers have different properties. They can understand essential oils and how they have healing properties and stuff like that. But when you speak to them about fairies, that's a little too, you know, mystical for them. But these are beings who help with that, you know, the magic, the physical magic that is within things that we can perceive, you know, like different essential oils have healing abilities for different ailments, and the fairy beings, you know, help for that to happen, and that is their purpose within creation. So every being like that has a purpose within creation, and it's not just one thing, you know, it will be different things at different levels. And whichever beings that we work with, these all can contribute, you know, in the building of the new earth in different ways. And that's why all of these kingdoms, you know, are coming back on the planet and making their presence stronger. So so whichever kingdom we associate ourselves with, you know, whichever is our light family or who we work with, you can work with them if there's a certain one that you resonate with, or you get constant messages, you know, lately, if you've been getting constant messages about a certain kind of being, then perhaps, you know, you are to work with that essence, and that is the essence that's coming through you. And yesterday, you know, on my Facebook page, I was watching as someone was commenting about how, like, one of my Facebook friends was on a thread, and someone had commented that, you know, these animals that we have on the planet, animals, birds, whatever, their main purpose is just to live and survive, you know, just to like live and die, basically. And my friend was commenting saying, no, each being has its own unique purpose, you know, within creation, and they're here for that. And of course, you know, this being wasn't open to that idea. They were like, no, the purpose is just to live and die. And at one level, yeah, it's just to live and die, like we all exist. And then it's the constant, you know, cycles of death and rebirth. So each being within creation has a certain significance and a certain, you know, essences that only they can bring through. And that's why we need all of these different kingdoms here present at this time, you know, at the beginning of like a new earth, for the creation of this new earth, this golden age. And this is the contribution that we are making, and that's why we have different kinds of volunteer souls as well, you know, different lineages that we bring through. So all of them are important. And at this time we are doing that by allowing these gates to open up through you know, our physical bodies, and through different kinds of rituals that you might be guided to, and to assist these kingdoms to be present on the earth. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I don't want to make it too long, but I do want to do the meditation. And you know, you can find another video for that I'll be making as well. And I hope that you will join me for it. Also, you know, if you are wondering what kind of guides, what kind of light family you have, what kind of a being you were born as within creation, I have some higher art services that bring you know, codes into that, and your own remembrance and your own awareness of it. So there's like these soul portraits. I have a galactic portraits and soul portraits. And also please note that I have 40% off currently like it's a sale that's going on in my higher guidance services, which is a little bit different. They're like these Skype sessions and this inner child work session that is a 3-part process, 3-session process, and also channeled messages. So you can have a look at that, because it's, you know, I don't do 40% off and I don't do sales like very often. So make sure to avail of that. And have a look for all of this and for more, for some of my articles as well, along with my Facebook page, Instagram, and everything, like my poetry. You can find them on www.livingourascension.com. The link will be below this video, and I'll see you very soon in the next video. And don't forget to join me for the meditation if that is something that you're guided to.